This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Well, this is turning into a garbage election. It all started over the weekend when a comedian whose name I literally don't remember, and this is one of the rare moments of the day where there are 3 different television screens on 3 different cable news channels, and yet this comedian's name, Tony Hinchcliffe, I think that's his name. I don't want to remember his name. Never heard of this guy. Don't know anything about this guy. But this is one of the rare moments of the day where his name is not on any of the screens. He makes a joke about Puerto Rico being garbage. You would think that it would just be forgotten about. You would think that people wouldn't care. You would think, and honestly, my impression of this was pretty similar to what Jon Stewart's was a couple of days ago, which is basically
now, obviously,
this.
In retrospect, having a roast comedian come to a political rally a week before Election Day and roasting a key voting demographic, probably not the best decision by the campaign politically. But to be fair, the guy's really just doing what he does.
And he went on basically to say that he didn't think it was that big of a deal. And this is something that happened 4 hours before Trump spoke, not something spoken by Trump, and it was a joke. Not a very good joke, very offensive joke, not even funny. And then this gets elevated to the number one issue in the world. People are not talking about the economy or inflation or the border or national security. And then, of course, President Biden does his President Biden thing and says, in essence, the only garbage here is Trump supporters. This has now created a whole firestorm, and now President Trump is having some fun with this. Yesterday, Vivek Ramaswamy was out there with a garbage truck, and so was President Trump in a garbage truck and even wearing a garbage vest.
I think that the comment made by really both of them, because there are really 2 of them, about being garbage, maybe 250 million people, they shouldn't be talking. That's like deplorable for Hillary. This is the deplorable for Hillary. And I think this is worse, actually. For Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
So yesterday in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Donald Trump did his entire rally speech wearing, and by the way, a lot of our listeners on WGN in Chicago were probably there, or WGN in the Midwest were probably there, but he did his entire rally speech wearing a sanitation worker's vest. And that reminds me, I have to get home right after the show because this is our garbage pickup day and I didn't put out the garbage yet. So hopefully, if the garbage people in my neighborhood are listening, slow down. Don't go so fast. Let me get home first, put the garbage out. Our resident expert on all things related to garbage references is nationally syndicated radio talk show host, New York Times best-selling author, and the co-host of Fox and Friends on Fox News, the one and only Brian Kilmeade. Brian Kilmeade, is this going to be known as the Garbage October Surprise?
Could be. I don't know. You know, everything goes so quickly. I mean, on Sunday, I thoroughly agree with you. That was an unbelievably positive event. You have people speaking over the course of 4 hours. It was about an hour late. It went out about a half hour long. Did Donald Trump's speech, and you have an insult comic. That's what he does. I mean, I don't think it was funny. I remember watching and thinking to myself, is anyone even listening? You know, there were groans when he was putting out some of these lines, and he was even saying, come on, guys, these are jokes. Snap out of it. So word got to Trump even before he took the stage that everyone was writing about this guy's routine. And his answer was, who is he? Who booked him anyway? So they ended up having a huge positive night. I know people that went there. Do you?
Oh, yeah, many.
Besides Sid?
Yeah.
What did they say?
They said it was, people had varying views. I think everybody thought Trump did well. A lot of people thought that Vance did well. Rudy Giuliani got quite an ovation. They
Hulk.
said, oh, please. I mean, how could anybody compete with Hulk Hogan? They said the scene outside was a little...
Elon Musk?
Yeah, no, look, I mean, your former colleague, Megyn Kelly, she described the event as a little too bro-tastic at a time when the Trump campaign is hemorrhaging male votes. Do you think she has a point there?
You mean female votes?
Yeah, female votes.
And Nikki Haley said something similar. That's fine. That's the sensibility of it. They could have maybe had other women. I guess Tulsi Gabbard spoke. We saw Alina Habba speak. Maybe they should have spoken in a more feminine way. I don't know. I just thought it reminded me a little of the RNC and the fact that all these people went. But they did mention disorganized, trouble getting in there. I heard a lot of that, too, even if you had the VIP tickets. But and I did not go for that reason. I saw the craziness in Nassau Coliseum, and I was just covering it. But having said all that, that guy's joke should never have been the major story. But his comments, President Biden's comments, is a big deal. Because when you tell people that they're garbage, these garbage people that follow them. That's been the indication for years. They're just afraid of the 74 million people that voted for Trump, but they really feel that way in many ways. Because they look at these people, they go, how could you like that guy? How could you hear what he says every day? How could you like that guy? He colluded with Russia. He got impeached. January 6th. How could you like that guy? So they do feel that way when the door's closed. I am sure they're saying to myself, how did we win over these people that follow this character called Donald Trump? And then when they say it out loud, it just says, okay, you just said it. You don't like me. You might not like him, but you're saying you don't like me either. So Trump says, no problem. I'm going to emphasize that. He's totally comfortable doing it. Essentially saying this, you can insult me all you want, but you can't insult my people. Then it's personal if you insult my people. And I think that's underlying it. I have like 7 comments from Senate contenders in battleground states saying distance himself from it. Governor Shapiro distanced himself from it. Vice President Harris, in a way, distanced herself for the first time from it. So it's a pretty big deal because on the left, they keep on trying to fix it. And they tried to fix it in the press room yesterday, too. I don't think anything really fixes it because we know how angry the president is. We know how he feels about him. This guy said he wants to take him out in the back and he wants to fight him. Then he wants to. He says, I want to drown him to Steny Hoyer yesterday prior to his comments on the Zoom call. So I think, what do we have? We have 5 days now. So I think that's going to be in every Trump speech. I know that.
Oh, and that's for sure. Personally, I think that President Biden is pretty diminished in terms of his mental acuity and everything else. And I don't think I'm the only one that almost discounts most of what President Biden says and does at this point. I mean, it's a sad thing to think of the president that way when he's the commander-in-chief of the military and could launch nuclear weapons at anyone he wants. Yeah. But he also tried to bite a child dressed as a chicken yesterday. I mean, how seriously should we take these comments? I mean, maybe it is an indication of how he and others truly feel. But one, I feel like President Trump has a long history of saying some bizarre things as well. Two, it's Biden. I mean, how much credibility do these comments really have?
Frank, you can't have it both ways. Mm-hmm. You can't have the 25th Amendment not invoked. You can't have him as President of the United States. He just was over in Germany. We just yesterday, North Korea just said a practice intercontinental missile that was essentially engineered to strike us. We know that we just had a illegal immigrant show up in Chicago and just gun down an American citizen, a Jewish American citizen walking into a synagogue. These are real issues. I mean, we're not talking about the ceremonial Queen of England. We're talking about the legitimate president sitting in front of us on a daily basis, making decisions with whatever's left of his staff. So either we just walk away and 25th Amendment him, or she says he's not the same guy. But you can't continue to lie to us and say, Vice President Harris, when asked, when did you notice the president diminished, and say the president's always been great behind the scenes and he's fantastic. And, Joe Scarborough, I talked to him one-on-one for hours and he's never been sharper. So you can't have it both ways. You can't go, well, he just said something embarrassing. Let's make him old.
My name is Lily, and I've had hidradenitis suppurativa, HS, for years. I finally found some relief since taking Cosentyx. Relief means I can show up more.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve. It's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger made the decision to endorse Kamala Harris. He's not exactly a Trump fan, not a total shock. What'd you make of this Schwarzenegger endorsement?
It's kind of lukewarm. I haven't memorized it, but he knows, like Liz Cheney, she's just raged herself into being a Kamala Harris supporter. There's nothing about Kamala Harris as a leader and an agenda that melds with anything conservative. She's not conservative. She's not moderate. There's nothing about her. You could say she's going to reinvent herself. We just don't know how and why. But that's a huge conjecture. You have the ultimate self-made superstar in Arnold Schwarzenegger, who outworked everyone literally in every way in the gym and outside the gym and on movie sets and in creativity. I mean, he is the conservative movement. He is the American story. He's supposed to divide his wealth according to the liberal doctrine, and he is the problem where the selfish billionaires who don't pay enough taxes, according to Bernie Sanders. I mean, those are the people. Those are the ones usually fighting against the liberal mindset of America is built on stolen land on the backs of slaves. So I don't understand. Arnold Schwarzenegger is essentially saying, I don't want Donald Trump to be president again. But if you look at what Trump's done and what he wants to do, that's really what Schwarzenegger wanted to do. Until he realized he's in California, and his wife stepped in and said, "You got to compromise almost everything in order to get anything done," which he did, disappointing every conservative. But got to know Arnold Schwarzenegger a little since Donald Trump became president. He doesn't come on really Fox anymore. I think maybe once. So, and when Trump called him out when he took over The Apprentice, there's no way. They're just in a rivalry.
Understood. And, I do wonder politically, though, at a time when Harris is having a difficult time with male voters, for a lot of people, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the textbook definition of masculinity. Does that move the needle for her at all? Doesn't hurt.
Definitely doesn't hurt. I just don't know. I mean, is he going to go on the campaign trail? Is he going to do his movie quotes again? They got him that recall vote, or did he release a statement saying, by the way, if you're looking for me for leadership, I'll do it. This is what I'm going to do. I mean, I don't see them doing what Liz Cheney's doing, talk, little town halls around the country.
All right. An ABC station has ignited a flurry of conspiracy theories after it aired what appeared to be official election results for Pennsylvania that showed Kamala Harris easily winning the key swing state more than a week before Election Day. This is WNEP-TV, a local ABC affiliate. Now, I'm in this group chat with my neighbors. When this headline came out, one of my neighbors who's a Trump supporter sent a message to everybody else saying, this is BS. They will rob and steal and fix this election. I don't trust them. What did you make of this error?
What is the head? I'm sorry. One more. You mean that's an ABC?
Yeah, that this ABC station mistakenly aired election results declaring Harris the winner of Pennsylvania before the election results are in. Give me your take on this whole thing, if it's just an honest mistake or if there's something more sinister here. And what do you think this will do in terms of sowing, I don't know, a lack of confidence in terms of the electorate?
Couple of things. I'm just catching up to this story. Mm-hmm. I'll dive into it, but I will say this: when you do rehearsals, they do Donald Trump as one. They'll do Jill Stein as one. They want to see the board. They want to see the anchor reaction. They want to see how the decision desk works with the control room to get the information to the anchors. Even though the same group here at Fox have been doing it basically 8 years, they will do that today. I'm supposed to do a pre-tape today. I'm kicked out of my studio because they're doing rehearsals. If some idiot let these rehearsals out, it looks like Fox would give the election to somebody. So it looks like it was during a rehearsal. It looks like an honest mistake. Listen, Frank, I don't know how you have to be the most evil genius to be able to put together a plot and plan with all the scrutiny going on right now to substantially sway an election that's going to have how many? Well, 100 million votes. I think the American people should say this is going to be honest and fair until further notice. So just know, people like you, people like me, people with a lot more resources and other networks are going to be looking into this, that want Harris to win and they want Trump to win. You and I cannot be poll watchers in Tecumseh, Iowa, and we cannot be poll watchers in Austin, Texas. We have to look at both campaigns. They're already suing each other, and in a good way, by the way. Provisional ballots and, cleaning off voter rolls in Virginia, sending it through the courts, arguing it out now. They're doing stuff they haven't done before. I think the American people should relax a little, understand there's systems in place. You gave these campaigns basically $1 billion each to make sure that both sides are okay with the verdict. We have to have a little trust that your side is going to do the proper surveillance from Philadelphia to Los Angeles to make sure that this is as controlled and upstanding as possible. I am not one to start questioning and looking at, and thinking that things are going to be dishonest.
Well, I love to hear that, and hopefully the audience, who obviously holds you in high regard, will take your words to heart. On a much sadder note, Yankees World Series ambitions came to an end yesterday. This whole playoff season, I mean, the Mets gave them quite a run, but the Dodgers have dominated this entire playoff picture. It's an incredible team. What did you make of the Yankees' performance, either in the World Series as a whole or last night in that error-filled game?
So this is how crazy it is. In my mind, I went to bed, it was 5-0. You and I got to get up at a decent time. I cannot sit there and watch it. And I said, this team is on a roll. Aaron Judge is homered. Stanton is homered. Chisholm is homered. You have Garrett Cole pitching lights-out baseball. According to John Smoltz, he says, I've never seen him better this year. So I went to bed going, okay, out to Los Angeles. Right. Can Cole pitch Game 7? And then I see they kicked the ball around, and Judge made an error after also making a great catch in the outfield, slamming into the wall. And I'm saying this guy's come alive. Even when he was hitting foul balls, he looked like the old Aaron Judge. So I'm stunned to see the comeback. And I will say this. Defense is not the sexiest thing in baseball. No one talks about it ever. Oh, he's a great hitter. Well, put him at first base. He's a shortstop with great power. What could go wrong? I'm not saying Volpe's that way. Volpe's got a great glove. But when it comes down to these games, we see it every year when these games are close. It's the sound. Like, whoever thought that Scott Brocious at third base would play such a key role during the Yankee years? He played defense first. And when you see that the Yankees are really a sloppy defensive team. And, one thing about Joe Torre teams, they weren't. And I think you got to make a change at manager. He's too laid back.
I agree. He's
just too laid back. A great guy. He's just, I know you should treat him like adults. But again, these guys want to be led. They want to be accountable. And I appreciate the respect. It's good to have a Bob Lemon come in after a Billy Martin, but those days are over. And you come in there, and I think you got to get some fire. And look, Stanton's now 35. Judge is going to be 33. Now you got to, if you got to do everything you can to get Soto, I think now you have a 36-year-old Garrett Cole as an ace. So, Austin Wells is young, Volpe is young, Chisholm is young. I get it. I don't think Judge is going to all of a sudden forget how to play, but he's playing center field at 33 and being 6'7", 280. I mean, that does wear in your body. So, I'm not sure if Verdugo is the future. The Martian might be there. So they do need another starter, and they got to go try to find. I think Michael King is a free agent, the guy they traded to get Soto. I think they should try to get him.
I think, look, I'm hoping the Mets will get Soto, and we'll see how that goes. He's a free agent in 5 days, so I'm hoping the Mets get him. All right, Brian, the next time we speak, hopefully we'll have a president-elect, and we can chat about the implications.
And Frank, have you told your audience who you're voting for?
Yeah, I'm for Trump. Yeah, I really was impressed with RFK, but I'm thrilled that RFK is on Team Trump, and I hope that that the fact that he and Tulsi, who's also somebody that I'm really impressed with, that they're playing such a big role in the transition team. I hope that helps avoid some of the mistakes that we saw in terms of personnel in the last administration.
All right. We'll look forward to these results. I'm not promising we're going to get a quick result because everyone keeps saying Pennsylvania's going to take forever, Arizona's going to take forever, and I'm just rolling my eyes saying, really? You haven't found a way to count the ballots and do what Florida did? So it's going to be discouraging. That builds the distrust for no reason.
Well, if you're up late or up early that night, you know where I'll be. Feel free to call in. But otherwise, I'll talk to you next week.
You got it, Frank.
Brian Kilmeade, catch him on Fox and Friends. Catch him on the radio. Catch him on Brian Kilmeade America on Saturday nights on the Fox News Channel.